So we have 23 channels with over 100k subscribers, and then we have 5 with over 1 million.
And then what's the revenue?
Around 150, 200k. And yeah, that's generally a strategy which I think other people can take, is if you find popular formats in illustration, with AI animation in particular, you can probably do a really nice job of like remaking that in a visual format.
Grown to a team of 100 people, you've scaled to 50 million subscribers. If you had one piece of advice for someone wanting to start a animation channel, what would it be?
First of all, make sure that
What's up, Oliver? Welcome to the #1 podcast for YouTube creators to grow on YouTube.
Thank you. Yeah, looking forward to talking.
And love your background. It's one of the best I've seen.
Yeah, I just decided to stay in the garden. I've got mosquitoes biting me, but I'll manage.
So maybe a quick background on if you can tell the viewers of what you do, basically.
Yeah, so I started out as a YouTube creator making gaming videos as a teenager. So I did that for around 5 years. And then after I left school at 17, and I decided to go into business right away. Like I was like, I'm not gonna, work a job, so I'm gonna purely go for business. And I started an agency, and the agency was doing video editing for YouTubers. So we have 10 billion views on the videos we've edited for other YouTubers. And then after that, I made a bunch of money, reinvested into my own brands. And now I'm building a media company that is doing animation, education videos in space, biology, geopolitics. And the goal is to scale a company which keeps launching new brands that are really interesting, valuable, viral, that are also educational and useful as well.
And so if we go right into it, basically, so when exactly did you start on YouTube?
Yeah, that was 2012. So that was when I was 12 years old making Minecraft videos as like a little kid. That was it. I did that. Yeah. And that was, I think it was 70 subscribers for 100 videos. That was a pretty impressive ratio. That took a long time to get anywhere. But gradually I learned how to speak on camera, and it gradually improved.
I mean, that story you hear often, but then at least you kept at it, and now you've grown to such a big team.
Exactly, yeah.
How did you go from that to creating your first animation channel?
Yeah, so it was a lot of studying other creators. I think that there's no university course for how to become a YouTuber. It's just like you watch content, you try and figure out what's working about it, you follow experts. So that was a lot of what I did, and that really, really helped to generate this understanding of how to make content. So there was that. The agency I worked on, it helps other creators with video editing, and when they're giving feedback and notes, you can kind of get a sense for style, and you see 12 different styles, and you kind of get a good sense of content when people who have millions of subscribers are giving you feedback notes. That's good. And yeah, in terms of the animation, we got here because I really wanted to do valuable education, also entertaining. So it's reaching people who may not really care that much about space or about biology, but it's fun. So they watch it and then they learn something as well. So it's like a mixture of those two things. And that's how it worked.
Was SolarBalls the first channel you built with animation?
So it was actually the third, or the fourth channel actually. So the first channel was around history, and it was like this concept where aliens analyzing human history kind of like concept. It was there to educate people about how weird what we're doing as humans looks compared to other from an outside perspective. So that didn't really work out too well. It was a bit too weird, a bit too niche. That was me kind of going on my tangent of enjoying making content. But it's done reasonably well for some videos. In short, it's done a few million views, 10 million for this one. So yeah, it did okay. That was the first one. Second one was Mr. Spherical.
That's in 2021 or when was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the start of 2021. That's when I started the brands. And then the next one was Mr. Spherical, which has been succeeding, which is started in end of 2021. And
Nice.
Then we have another one which...
Sorry, before going to the next one, what made you go from that first channel about history to this one?
It was mainly because I saw an opportunity where this niche was getting like 500k views for a 3-minute animation video that was pretty mediocre in quality. So I thought, well, I can do something better here in quality, and I can make a brand here. So that was the reason I saw the opportunity. And secondly, the first brand wasn't really succeeding, so I thought, okay, I'm gonna place my bets and my time on this new brand instead. So there's 9 different languages for this channel. So we have this top video has 25 million views across all the languages, which is kind of crazy to think we've got 25 million. So yeah, that's that. And then yeah, a few more other random channels I made. I made like made a channel animation, teenage stories for young girls, and this was didn't really succeed too well because it was just it was too competitive. There's already this market of this kind of content. And lastly, then it was SolarBalls. So that's the channel which we can talk about a lot. I think is the most successful one in terms of the financials and the views. Yeah.
If we go back to your third channel, why do you think my animated stories is crushing in that field that's so competitive? Like how are they so high above everyone else?
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing. What I studied at, how do I say this? Many things. So firstly, they are just very good at title and thumbnails and appealing to these teenage audiences. Maybe they go a bit too far sometimes, but that's obviously anyone's own question. They are great at, making quality animation. They do invest a bunch of money into that animation. The style looks good. And then I'd say lastly, the amount of content they post is very impressive. Like they used to post every single day they'd post like a new anime kind of video. It's like very impressive. So yeah, I think it was those main things. And basically because they posted so much, they kind of like crowded out the niche, and viewers every day that have fresh content. So why would I go and look at something new? It's kind of something like that, I think.
On those first 3 channels, how did you grow those team of animators? Was it all the same team, channel after channel? Were you always looking to hire?
We built a new team per channel. So the model I have is we build a new team every single channel. The reason for that is, as you know, like any YouTuber who's tried to make a second channel or a third channel, it's very easy to kind of like, lose focus on one thing. And the main thing needs to be the main thing. Like make sure to not get distracted. So hire a different director. So director is kind of somebody who has some content strategy experience, but mostly is kind of a good person at directing animation. So maybe they've had some background training in animation, probably have. They know some writing, so they can like shape the scripts. And they know some basic content strategy, but at the same time, we teach them that. And then below that, yes, then you hire the animator, the writer, the voiceover artist, the maybe sound designer. So yeah, all those roles come below that. And sometimes we mix them across channels, but mostly they're separate.
For Mr. Spherical, did you study like, okay, this is how the history-geo world of YouTube is. So there's definitely a gap for animation in that niche, and then you went at it. Like how did you study that niche before going all out? Because doing animation channels is a big investment. How were you so sure to get into this one?
Yeah, it was mainly this channel actually who used to post content. They don't post anymore. But yeah, when they stopped and then we started. That's kind of how you can see the timeline. So 3 years ago. And yeah, this was the main inspiration.
Quick break from the pod to tell you about 1of10.com, a powerful tool to help you grow faster on YouTube. Check this out. Using 1of10, this creator took inspiration from this viral idea and combined it with this thumbnail concept. And the result? Her most viewed video with more than 2 million views. By focusing on the right idea, title, and thumbnail, you're setting your videos up to go viral. 1of10 includes a suite of tools specifically designed to highlight overperforming videos and spark inspiration to find your next viral idea in just minutes. And the best part? With code POD50, you'll get 50% off for life. That means just one video with 25,000 views can cover an entire year's cost. So if you want to grow your channel faster, head over to 1of10.com. Now back to the pod.
Otherwise, I would say it was a mixture of having money already, stored up because I have a video editing agency which had accumulated money. So I had like $20,000, $30,000 that I was able to invest in these brands. And secondly, yeah, I think just generally really wanting to make a successful brand, just, being obsessed about that and doing it in a place I care about, which is education. So it was a mixture of those that made me go, okay, I'm going to, go all out in this. I did have some idea of if it doesn't work out within, a few months, then I will stop. But it worked out pretty quickly. So that was fine. It was okay to keep going. Yeah.
How much did your first 3 channels cost? Because the first and third were not successful, but the second and fourth mega success. So I'm curious, like, what's that model looking like? And if you can talk about revenue.
Sure, yeah, pretty painful. So the first channel did It was a year and a half of running it, or 2 years, roughly that, a year and a half. And that cost me 30,000 US dollars. The revenue
Wow.
was around 1,500. So it just
Oh wow.
only,
Holy shit.
yeah, only really crossed the AdSense mark at that point. So that was a big
Uh,
mistake because I went way too I went way too persistent with that. I was like, I want to make it work. I want to do everything I can. And then I spent way too much money. So I should have stopped that at around 10,000 and realized it wasn't working.
when you say 30,000, what is the cost distribution?
With these 8 minute, 10 minute animation videos, typically they cost around $3,000 each. So
Wow.
this channel, as you can see, we've got like a bunch of these 10 minute videos and 20K views, so you're making $20 on a $3,000 video. So yeah, as you can tell, it's that's kind of how it works, cost of distribution wise. Mostly animation costs. I think like half of that is animation, and then the rest is a mixture of voiceover, scripting, some research,
Mm,
sound design. So yeah, that's typically the cost distribution of how these run. And it's
got
generally
it.
the same for other brands too.
We'll talk about AI later, but I'm curious if AI helped you reduce significantly costs in animation.
Yeah, not yet. I think in the future there's a possibility it will, but for now we're going to focus on just scaling up what we currently have, and if there's something in the future that works with animation and AI, then we'll definitely look into it. But for now, we have a really good team and we can be very specific with what we want to do if you can animate it yourself compared to AI, because AI can, right now, it's still a bit like wishy-washy. It does some like weird image that you don't want and stuff. So not for now.
Interesting. So first channel minus 29,000. Then second
Exactly.
channel, what happened there?
Yeah, second channel, that was Mr. Spherical, which did succeed. That was roughly, but it was pretty tough though. It was like 8 months of 8 months of like losing money and then getting to break even. So I think I was a negative $10,000 for that as well.
Okay.
And then finally at 8 months, we kind of like, we transitioned from shorts. I mean, obviously animation's expensive. Animated shorts, like that's next level. Like you just can't make any money on those. So yeah, we basically did that 8 months, break even. So started profiting after 8 months. And then after that, we had some pretty strong months. We had like sponsorships and we got $10,000 a month in net profit. And now we've kind of not focused on the channel as much. So it's declined a bit, but if we get back on track, which we plan to, then $10,000 a month net profit is Mr. Spherical's place where it can be. Yeah.
It's a great place to be. It's a dream actually
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
Sure. It's really
Um,
nice. Yeah.
what do you think was the breakout point from being break even to making 10K profit?
Yeah. It was all about sponsorships, actually. That was the only reason.
Oh,
So the
okay.
shorts, we launched with shorts, and then we gradually started to do long videos. And then once we did long videos, we knew we could do an integration. So this was actually our second most popular video is our first long video. It's not 8 minutes, because we cut out the ad and it wasn't fully 8 minutes. But either way, it's a long video. And yeah, this was the first video that we did. And that's the difference, yeah. So like you gotta get sponsorships with animation, I think. There's not many channels that can succeed without sponsorships. There are some, but mostly, you gotta do animation with sponsorships. Yeah.
Because what's the RPM on animation videos?
It's pretty low. This Mr. Spherical, like, depends on the time of year. Like now it's like $2.50, $3, but
Right.
in February it's like awful. It's like, $1.50, and that's just insane, right?
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
what I always thought. Like animation channel is hard. What would you say is the toughest part of growing an animation channel?
I would say it can be really hard to find somebody to run it because, as we mentioned
Mm,
before, like you need somebody who has animation background and experience, but you don't want somebody who's too traditional because, as we know, everyone says this, like you hire somebody from traditional media and then they use their own style and approach, and then it's like wrong or it's just not aligned with what YouTube should be doing. So that's the issue. Is like it's hard to then pull somebody from that field because they need to know animation, and then train them to actually do the style as you want. So that's kind of like the challenge that we faced. That's the main issue. Secondly is the money. So yeah, just like you got to be really, really thoughtful about what you launch because you can
yeah.
very easily throw away 30K. On the third channel we didn't mention, but my teenage story, I also lost 30K as well. So yeah, and then a bunch of other channels as well. I think in total I spent like 90K on channels that haven't succeeded, but yeah, it's pretty intense.
But then on to the winner one, channel number 4, SolarBalls. What happened
Exactly.
there?
So that was a cross promotion mostly actually from Mr. Spherical. And
Ooh.
basically we launched the brand with 3 videos. And we said,
Why
okay,
did
we're
you
gonna
choose space, planets?
Yeah, that was mainly because we already saw there was an interest in this. There was already comics about space, planets
Mm.
with faces. And we saw, okay, well, we can, maybe do something ourselves, but in animation, like to convert it into a cartoon
Smart.
illustration into like actual animation. And yeah, that's generally a strategy which I think other people can take, is if you find popular formats in illustration, with AI animation in particular, you can probably do a really nice job of like remaking that in a visual format instead of in a video format instead of a image format. So that's how we did it. And then combine that with Mrs. Spherical, which gave us we kind of had a similar style as you can see across the channels. Yeah, and then cross promoting it as well. That really helped because we got 100,000 subscribers in 11 days. So it really grew really fast.
And before getting into that, let me tell you about how the 1 of 10 strategy team can help you grow your channel much faster and make more money. Our team has directly worked with over 100 YouTubers to grow their channels by optimizing their content, focusing on the right strategies. So for example, here's a video idea, title, and thumbnail that we crafted for Mike Shake that ended up getting 22 million views and being his most popular video of all time. Another example is the content strategy we built for Callaway, helping him go from 0 to 70,000 subscribers and grow a 6-figure business on top of that. And those are only just 2 of many creators the team has worked with in the past 6 years. So if you're ready to take your channel to the next level in the next 90 days with daily support, video reviews, winning ideas, titles, and thumbnails, and even 2 calls per month to answer all your questions, head over to oneoften.com/strategy to book a call. I remember that. Yeah. Okay. And a lot from Mr. Spherical. And then after Browse picked up, right? On all of that? Is that what?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Browse picked up really quickly. It was like, 1.5 days, 2 days. And then we weren't relying on Mrs. Spherical. I mean, it was just growing 3,000 subs a day from Browse. It was crazy, yeah. And I think that's like as a general lesson, I really do think that if you find a true winner that's like going to go to the moon, then it often does like come pretty early if you've got the right pieces together in terms of the style. So yeah, that was a really good sign. And whenever I see that now, it's a winner if it wins early. If it doesn't win early, it can still be a winner, but obviously it's more of a risk to like reinvest into that. And you got to have a lot of confidence to do that. Otherwise you end up losing a lot of money. So yeah, that's an interesting piece.
But it's really interesting. Basically, you kept at it, even if you lost 30K on that first channel, 30K on that third channel. But then this fourth picked up right away. Could have died, but kept at it because it is a very nice branded channel instead of like, let's say a random automated channel. And what's cool to see with this branded channel is it was started 2.5 years ago, and it's still going strong at 500,000 views per video. That's really impressive.
And even more than that, it's like 500,000 views a video sounds good, but what's really the impressive part is that it makes a lot of money from other revenue streams as well. So yeah, it's kind of a situation where it looks like one thing, but it's like 5 times that because of all the other revenue streams. So we can talk about those as well, which is pretty interesting.
Exactly. Maybe if you can break down basically what is the cost right now, and then what are those other revenue streams?
Yeah, so cost-wise, videos cost like $3,000-$4,000 each. That's before the kind of administration business team. But just like pure production, $3,000-$4,000.
Sorry, 3,000-4,000. What is it exactly? It's let's say is it 1 animator? Is it 5 animators plus 2 editors? Like how's that looking like? And how long does it take to do one video actually?
Typically, it's either 1 or 2 animators. Depends on the video. In terms of the time it takes, it is around a month for 1 animator. So that's a pretty long time for 1 video.
Wow.
2 animators, 3 weeks or so. So yeah, it's pretty significant for 1 video. So we need 5 animators for the channel to post every week. In terms of the rest of the pieces, so we have 1 writer alongside my business partner, who Alvaro is the guy who built the creative vision of this. He's fantastic person, and he's really smart. So
Nice.
he's like a co-writer with the other writer. He's also directing everything, designing the show. We have not only, there's characters that are interesting to people, but there is actually like a huge fandom behind this. It's like a show. So think
Nice.
of Disney and how they have a show, and then everyone loves the characters. Like we have a similar thing, and that's why we managed to sell a lot in merchandise as well. I'll briefly just show you some pieces about this. So the SolarBalls community has like a bunch of fan channels, like you see Marvel fan channels and stuff, but it's crazy. Like there's just people who post, they make their own version of our planet, so this is their own stuff, and they get 200,000 views. And there's channels which there we go. This guy's got 3 million views on fan content for us, and this is hundreds of thousands of views. It's crazy. So it's a really big community behind this, and that means that it's really, really powerful.
That is so cool. Like, how does it make you feel to see that what you've created, there's actually fan made animation based on yours?
Yeah, it feels really good. It feels very very impressive, because it's just like that's not happened before on many YouTube channels. And yeah, the goal there is to now kind of see that happened, and then go, okay, well, how can we now start to move towards something more like Disney and how they've built their brands and characters, and Pixar and those kind of really, really big companies, and try and do something which is building a fandom like they have. Yeah,
you're on the right track. And then what's the revenue right now?
Around 100, I think it's 100,000 or so a month. So
Wow.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
In terms of the profit, depends, but it's around half of that. So yeah, that's pretty significant as well. In terms of there's obviously other costs that we have to have as business costs, like operations, management,
Right.
getting brand deals, other things like that. But generally, it's doing very, very well profitably, and as we mentioned, trying to focus on getting to like $20 million in 5 years. I really believe that we can do that.
I believe it too. I'm really bullish on those types of branded animation channel. I love that as well. And the angle you're doing with educational, it just basically increases quality content online, which is what I really believe in and trying to do as well. So yeah, you said you're making 100K revenue per month. What's the breakdown of that?
So the breakdown is around 30 or 40,000 AdSense for the English channel, and then there is around 10,000 for other languages. We have 10 languages: Arabic, Hindi, Chinese, Japanese, everything you can think of. Then we have 15K a month in Patreon, which is pretty significant. We actually have I think the third largest Patreon for an animation channel, which is great. And that's just pretty decent. Merchandise, then we have quite a lot of merchandise revenue. So if we included the merchandise revenue, it would be more than 100K a month, like 150, 200K a month. But I'm just being conservative and saying. But yeah, including the merchandise.
1 second. You're saying the merch from SolarBalls is between 50K to 100K a month?
In revenue, yeah, that's true. Yeah, right now.
Wow.
Usually more like 30K, but recently because of Q4, it's been 50 to 80K. And in the past 60 days, because we did a Kickstarter, it's actually been $250,000, because we did 150K with Kickstarter, and then almost 100K now, over 100K, with the actual merchandise Shopify store itself. Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive numbers. What was the Kickstarter about?
Yeah, I'll show you that. So that's a Kickstarter for a new card game that we made. So that is
I see a uptrend on card games. Is it because it's low cost but high reward type thing?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a really high margin product because you're selling paper, basically, branded paper. So that helps.
True.
So yeah, this is, as we can see, it's 150K here, with almost 2,000 people who backed it, and that was just finished like 2 weeks ago, so it's pretty recent, and yeah, it went really nicely. So that's that. And
what was the milestone that you were aiming for?
We were aiming for, how much were we aiming for? Well, it says $10,000. We weren't really aiming for 10,000. We were aiming for more than that. But we said that we managed, our real aim was around 100K. So yeah, 150K was nice. We definitely did more than we thought. I'll just briefly show you this. This is the past 30 days, or let's do past 30 days is 88,000 for the store itself, and then past
Nice.
90 days is 120K. So yeah, pretty crazy. But this is one channel,
And
right?
those are plushies?
Yeah, mostly plushies, and then also the solar cards, the card game itself. So yeah, a mixture of
Got
those
it.
two things. Also, if the viewers are wondering why my head is now red, it's because I've been bitten by mosquitoes in my garden here.
It's funny.
Yeah.
So you're selling plushies, and that's hitting those big numbers. I'm just curious, how are you making those plushies? Did you go where they're actually manufacturing it? How did it go about to actually start that merch?
Yeah, so that was a mixture of us, seeing a potential to do plushies because other creators do plushies and YouTubes and things like this. So we saw that and we went, okay, let's try and figure this out. We went to a company called Creator Inc., which is a company which does creator services. So we work with them. We still work with them for the plushies. And then, for the cards, we found a manufacturer and work with them directly for these new cards. So it's a mixture of both. There's quite a lot of creator companies that are there to help creators make merch, so that's pretty good. But yeah, obviously, if you have a big enough sales, then gradually you can start to do it yourself, and that is better for the margins.
What is Creator Inc?
Yes, there's a company which does merchandise for creators. So this is the company. It's like behind the scenes. Yeah, so they work with the manufacturer and they basically help to get the design correct, and then they do the fulfillment, so they get a warehouse and they ship it out for us. So like a mixture of those things.
Wow, interesting. Okay. And was there an initial investment cost for that, or straight up?
There wasn't actually, because we did a pre-order. So we did a pre-order, which meant that we didn't need to pay up front. We received the revenue from the customers, and then we used that to pay the manufacturer. So that's a really nice model, which Kickstarter also enables, is you don't need to spend the money up front and risk, nobody buying it. You can, first of all, pre-order it, and then after that, you can decide how many to purchase. So that's been really good, really, really helpful, and avoids too much risk.
So you mentioned Mr. Spherical and SolarBall. Do you have more channels running? Like, what's YouTube empire looking like right now?
So we have 23 channels with over 100K subscribers. That is basically mostly language. So it's quite significant, yeah. 23 channels. And then we have, I think it's like 5 with over 1 million. And yeah, those are run by many different people, as you can imagine. I can't run them all.
Yeah.
Which is good. And they're mostly channels which are different languages of SolarBalls and Mr. Spherical. So we don't have lots of different brands, but we do have other brands as well. So we have Human Buddy, which is I'll just show you that as well. That is a biology brand, which is animation too. And then we also show you that as well. So Human Buddy is this one, 250,000 subs on English, roughly. Some of the videos done reasonably well recently, which is good. And we have some bigger videos. And then Worker Boy is a channel which is focused on companies. So these are the main animation brands. And then we're also focusing and starting to build channels which are focused on documentaries. So this is a new channel which we've just launched. It hasn't had the success I want yet. We've only done 3 videos. But we've got one video, 50K views. The other's 5K views. This is a new documentary length format, because these can also be very successful if you get a sponsorship, if you have a high RPM, which you do. These are like $15 RPM kind of niches. Then yeah, it can be really significant.
And all those channels combined, what's the total revenue per month?
Around 150, 200K revenue, yeah.
Okay, nice. So approximately 2 million a year to 2.5. Nice. That's really impressive. And you mentioned also that you have 100% in your team. How are you managing everything? Like, what's the organization looking like with you at the top? You have partners. Like, what's that looking for people wanting an empire themselves?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the structure is starting with I'll start with the channel directors. We can work up. So we have somebody who runs each channel, and that's the director. And that person does what we mentioned before, which is like channel management alongside creative direction. Then below that, they have a team, which is like one layer beneath them, so they manage everyone. Above that, we have a few different ways of it works. So we basically have operations manager or operations director, who is overseeing those directors, giving them support. So, for example, if a director needs new training material, they want to learn how to do content strategy better, she'll help to find them that information. If they want to hire a new person or fire somebody, then she'll help them with that. If they just generally need advice on how to manage people, she'll help with them with that. So she's there, director. And then above that is me, who's chief executive, who is helping to move around the business. I'm mostly doing new brands, like working to incubate, start new brands, but also able to work on the business side. So we have like two sides of the organization. One is creative and like managing the whole process. And the other is then taking that creative content and doing the merchandise store, doing licensing. So we're now actually licensing the SolarBalls content in China. So Tencent, the company, is going to be putting the SolarBalls IP onto Tencent kind of like TV and stuff. And in Russia, we're on like we're on the Netflix of Russia. That they have like 7 streaming services, and we're on all of them, which is kind of crazy. So,
how did that's
the business
come
side
about? The China part and the Russian part. Like how did that start?
Yeah, so it first came because I just I'm obsessed with reaching more people with the education by doing these new languages, right? So we did Russian language, we did Chinese language, and it succeeded in both those markets. So we got like success with views, and then after that we realized, well, in these markets there's less content. So the Netflix that they have in their country has less content to use, so they kind of also want to get creators content as well. In the English world, we don't really have that yet. It's like YouTube is quite separate from Netflix, but it's kind of gradually getting closer and closer. So yeah, that's like an interesting piece, is their markets are like, it's kind of more close already, and ours are like gradually getting closer. So in the future,
are you talking with Netflix?
Not yet, but yeah, I think in 2-3 years, definitely, I think we can. And we see like animation Glitch. Have you seen Glitch Productions? The like digital circus?
Definitely.
Yeah, so something like that. It's actually working really nicely for them. So they're on Netflix, they're on YouTube. I really think that we're going to see similar things happen for our brands and other brands too.
Why do you think Glitch was so successful? I'm curious. You've probably studied them.
Yeah, I haven't studied them too much actually yet. I've just really recently came across their work. So I'll let you know for the next podcast. I'm going to study it soon. Yeah. It's very impressive though.
And so you have such a huge team and so many things going on. What's your week looking like?
Yeah, so right now it is on Monday. I start by trying to spend the day focused on the Creators for Impact, which is my version of doing Team C's, Team Trees. We bring together creators and do impact campaigns. So that's been like the Monday, like thinking about how to do that, strategy, building a campaign we just launched a month ago. Tuesday is typically focused on new brands and like deep work. So, try and think about strategy in the morning, then have some calls about new brands and improving them. And then that's most of the day of Tuesday. And then Wednesday is kind of like business calls. So for example, let's check the finances, let's check the recruiting, who we're recruiting at the moment. Like, do we want to hire this person? Do we not want to hire this person? And then also, just other pieces like that. Thursday is usually meeting people from outside the company, talking to you and other cool people who are in the economy. And Friday as well, usually similar. And then like administration for Thursday or Friday, like, whatever that's going to be, like legal documents and stuff like that.
Nice. I like that. Every day is like something specific. You don't mix things all over the place. Maybe I should do that. That's a good organization.
It can help. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Once things scale, like it's just it's overwhelming to do everything in the same day, because you're like 10 different channels in one day. It's like, wow, my mind's like going insane or something. So yeah, it's good to start splitting it up. Yeah,
I feel you. I have so many different things going on, and Back to your first day on Monday, Creators for Impact. Can you talk more about that? Because we hear a lot about, creator-led businesses where creators use their influence to start billion-dollar companies, right? But you are working on Creator for Impact. Can you tell more?
Yeah, so Creators for Impact is basically after building the company, I want to build Creators for Impact, which is bringing creators together who want to have an impact, whether that is raising money for the oceans, for just generally educating about a particular topic, like let's say psychology, and they want to just help their viewers' mental health. It might be, let's try and fix this part of our country's politics because let's say there's legislation they want to get passed, and they want to go, okay, let's try and help to push it by getting our viewers to also go, let's implement a law to stop burning plastic in our country. That's an example in Indonesia. So yeah, we just did Team Indonesia, which is a campaign where we got famous creators, celebrities together, and they talk about burning plastic as an issue, and that's obviously damaging the environment. And we want to fix that by getting the country to actually have proper waste management. So right now, there's many households which don't get any waste collection. So basically, they just left with plastic and they can't do anything with it because nobody's collecting it. So we're just like doing a campaign and getting people aware that this is an issue and encouraging them to talk to their local leaders and try and solve it. So creators are there to do education awareness and encourage their viewers to take action.
How many creators did you have on that campaign? What was the end result of it? I know it took you also a year to prepare.
Yes, there's lots of thinking and planning. We had 15 creators, and they collectively had 60 million followers and subscribers. So a mixture of Instagram and YouTube, mostly on Instagram actually. And yeah, they had around 60 million. So yeah, we got pretty significant reach. I think 10 million, 20 million views and impressions, which is reasonably good. I want to do way bigger in the future, like Team C's level. But for the first campaign, I think it's reasonably good. In terms of the outcome, so in the capital city, we made like a pledging system, and the capital, the two mayors that were running to become mayor, is like an election period. They're running to be mayor, and they basically pledged they're going to fix the waste management in their city, which is a capital city, and they're actually going to stop this burning of plastic and stuff. So that's really good. Like if they push through with that, then we've actually nudged the capital city to fix its systems, and the creators were there to do that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not sure yet. It's only just finished, but that's what they pledged, and we'll see and follow up with them.
No, yeah, I respect that a lot. Using influence for good. What's next?
Yeah, so currently thinking that through. Not exactly sure, but I'm curious to do something in AI because I really want to defend creators. I think that I'm concerned that the platforms like YouTube and Google and Facebook, they might use the content of creators and then put it into machines and just not pay the creators for that, and then just make their own content and just publish that on the platform. So I'm thinking, is there a way that we can do a campaign where creators go, we don't want that. We want to make sure that, you actually pay us for our content or just don't use it at all. I'm curious about that. So I'm thinking about it. Next year, I might do something around AI for the English community, not Indonesia, but like all of us in the US, UK, etc.
Do you see it as it can negatively impact the ecosystem? So yeah, by copying your persona, but do you see other parts where it can be I mean like people losing jobs? What are you thinking?
Yeah, lots of different thoughts. On the one hand, I think it's great because we can test new ideas for animation without many issues of cost, right? Like I don't need to spend 30K to do an AI animation. Yeah. I can do that with like 1K or less. So that's great. That's good news. I think that as creators, we can all compete with Disney and big companies much better with AI because we can like use those tools, make premium content. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
I think the main issue that I have personally is as soon as a tool stops being used by people, us creators, and instead it becomes like a actor agent itself, so it's able to just like fully make its own content and then publish it, and fully make its own content and publish it. Then that's where it becomes competition, right? So a tool usually just stays a tool. Like, if you've got a hammer, it's not going to start to become a person that walks around hitting stuff. So it remains a tool. But AI is very unique. It's like the first tech which can also become a competition as well. So this is a really important point for us to think about as creators, is like, we want it to be a tool, yes. And YouTube love to tell us it's a tool, it is. But soon, they can like make it into an agent, and they can make it a competition if they want to. So I want to like help defend creators, and us creators defend ourselves to make sure that they're not going to do that in a a way that really damages our businesses. So we'll see. But that's a concern I have, and I want to do something about that.
I see. Yeah, I think that I think about that a lot, because what you said, I do think AI can really change how we produce content much faster, higher quality. We can compete with Netflix, that type of thing, which goes with my mission to increase quality content online. And it also lowers the barrier of entry, which means that it should technically lead to even much better content online. But then on the other side, right now what we're seeing is insane. What we will see in 6 months will be crazy. But we're not thinking in 5 years. In 5 years, everything's going to change. Everything. Like what you said, there's going to be agents that can learn by itself and just create content and think of ideas by itself, and you will think he, she, it is real. Like I don't know how to call it an AI anymore, which is crazy to think about. So then where does that lead in content creation for us humans? What I'm thinking, I was wondering, is I wonder if streaming is going to have an uptick. Like it's already, it seems going increasing. But the thing with streaming is that you're like, 8 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours talking to people. You're creating a relationship with them. And I don't think AI can do that. So yes, AI can replicate that. But humans won't be able to connect as much with an AI doing the same thing as, let's say, I Show Speed doing his its thing, like personality, that type of thing will become super important. Storytelling, that type of thing, unique content, and I do feel streaming might be a big thing versus AI. But yeah,
I totally with you. Yeah, I think that's it. Streaming can be really big. I think in general, I think of it as like, what are the ways of defending ourselves against AI? And I think the first thing is, personality or connection. So for example, the way I think of it is like 3 pillars of AI defensibility is like a phrasing I have. So first of all, it is, personality. So if you have a personality that people connect to, then that is a way of defending yourself because, people you can connect with them better than AI. The next one is like trust and authority. So let's say that we have, Kurzgesagt, which is the biggest science channel, 20 million subscribers. Even if somebody makes an animation version of that with AI, then they don't have the same authority with the brand. Like the brand is educational, we know it's trustworthy, we go for it and we watch it. So in education, I think trust and authority is going to be really important, and you can still defend yourself if you have that. And lastly is community. So I think it's like a community. It's kind of self-reinforcing, like you have people who talk to other people and that makes the community stronger, even if the creator's not involved. So the creator can build that community that like is self-serving itself. I think that's really powerful as well to just keep engagement, keep a connection, and AI again can't do that very well. So those are the 3 things which I think for me, I'm strategizing and making sure I implement, and I think is really, really helpful to think about as well. Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. We'll talk about it on our next episode in the next time you come, and we'll see how AI has changed the game. What is your big, let's say, dream for creator-led impact?
That's great. The big dream is that creators both able to sell products and they build their businesses, and at the same time they realize, I have a platform here, a very special opportunity to help my viewers and their future. So if I, want to, I can talk to them about mental health, and I can help them become a better person now and parent in the future because their psychology is just, more developed. I can help make sure that this, powerful government isn't putting legislation in place that's going to hurt the people, because like if we have 20 creators who say, this legislation is not very good for the people, we want to defend them because we are creators who care about our audiences. So that's my vision, is I really want the creator economy to have lots of people who really want to do that. And it can be very simple, but just using their influence for impact as a norm in our economy.
And talking about creator economy, about creator-led businesses. So you said you want to have a $20 million YouTube empire. Is that 20 million a month, a year? What's that goal? And
Sure.
how are you going to achieve that?
Yeah, okay, 20 million. So that is that's the intellectual property value of SolarBalls, just the one brand. I want $20 million with one brand. That's not a yearly profit figure, that is a like valuation figure. So, the
Got it.
valuable, yeah. So here's how it breaks down. With different channels, like usually you can sell a channel in a Faces channel for like one times earnings, three times earnings, which means you're paying for like the profit that you estimate in 3 years, you pay it as a price. In animation, you can do more. You can do like 10 times or more. So if we say 10 times, then that means $20 million is 2 million a year if we're going to be, doing that. 2 million a year is therefore going to be over 100K a month, like 150K a month in profit. So the goal is to get 150K a month in profit for that brand, and that should be a $20 million valuation brand. And I think we can do that in 3 years, but for conservative sake, I said 5 years. And then after that, the big goal is to basically become the Disney of the digital age. We're going to build more IP, more animation, and just do that at a rapid pace. And then we can have significant impact by having, 5 of those brands worth 20 million each, or 10 of those brands worth 20 million each. So in 5 years, I think we're going to be in a pretty interesting place in that respect.
And are you focusing on animation? Is that the full focus? Do you want to go with creator-led face? What's that looking like?
Yeah, so as long as we can build animation brands which are really able to build a community, then we can defend ourselves against AI animation. But if we can't do that, then we're not going to be able to, defend ourselves. So we have to be very selective and choose the right brands. But if we do it, then we have great potential with that. We are going to do documentaries as well. I think documentaries are also possible you can have them on YouTube, you can have them on Netflix, you can have them in, Chinese, whatever, Netflix, you can have them everywhere. So we're going to build documentaries also. But animation is the key. Yeah, I think it's the best opportunity. You can do merchandise, you can do in-person theaters, you can do whatever, you can do so much. It's crazy.
If you had one piece of advice for someone wanting to start a animation channel, what would it be?
First of all, make sure that the financials make sense, because it is a niche where you've got to make sure the financials make sense. Like, your cost is going to be high, so choose a niche that's big enough. That's the first thing. And secondly, it is to try and build a brand which has characters that people can relate to, because if you do that, then there's opportunity for you to license that content to streaming platforms, and you can easily build a community around those characters and get fan content like we have. So those are the two things that I think if you do, then you're in a really good place with animation brands.
And I was just curious, what do you think will become the creator economy in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I think we're going to see creator content increase in quality, as we've already seen in the past few years, which means that creators can start to be on streaming platforms. They can start to be licensed in other ways. So what's really interesting is, we already know that's happening, but what's really interesting is these big companies like Disney, Netflix, whatever, they have the issue of their own revenues declining. So they need to find cheaper ways of making content. And if we are making more premium content, then we're actually in a good position to say, hey, we've got this content, like you can pay us this licensing fee for 2 years of putting it on your platform. And that's a good deal for them because it's cheap content, but it's designed for watch time. Like, creator content is really good at getting watch time while being low cost. And that's like a really simple point, but one that I think is going to mean the economies are going to mix, and we're going to see a mixture of them. So Netflix ad tier, they already have that. And that's kind of a good example of becoming a bit more like YouTube. And then YouTube are going to implement this TV UI for series content. And that's also going to be a way of YouTube stepping up one level as well.
Again, you have so many things going on. What is the process to find, let's say, the right ideas or title thumbnails for those channels? Like, how are you optimizing to get the most views?
We are, it's first of all market research. Like, we've used 1 of 10. We have a subscription, so we're using 1 of 10.
Nice.
There we go. We're also generally looking at our own catalog of seeing what's worked and having a good idea of, how can we do iterations of that. That's a good way to do it as well. And then, generally also a bit of testing of ideas that we're not really sure about, but we try them out. That's also just an experimental thing as well. So that's mostly most of the techniques we use. Yeah.
Second question. If you had to invest in one YouTube channel today, which one would it be that you think is on a skyrocket mode?
Interesting. I mean, SolarBalls, which we already have. I'm already like pleased that we have that. I think 10x that. I think something like Glitch, like another animation brand, which is already succeeding at both being premium for YouTube and then also licensing elsewhere. I really think there's great potential for these channels. So I'd say Glitch. Let's say Glitch. Yeah.
And last questions. You've talked about your goals here and there. But what's the end game? What's your big dream for the next 10, 20 years? Because I know you have long-term vision.
Yeah, the big dream is to build a company which builds and launches a new brand every single month that's like really quality, like SolarBalls, and really valuable. So let's say every month we're building a new brand that after 3 years of launch is worth $20 million. Like that would be insane. We could become a $100 million company, quarter of a billion, definitely possible. That's the big dream on the company side. On the impact side, I want to use that money to then invest in organizing creators and bringing us together to have an impact. And, creators care about different things, so helping them have an impact in where they care about without being the only person posting about that thing. Because nobody wants to be like, oh, I care about this issue and nobody else is talking about it. So help them and just build a really, strong organization that helps creators do that. That's the big dream.
Oliver, you, like I said at the beginning, are extremely impressive. You're running a beautiful empire. I think you've gave a lot of value today, and looking forward to see how it grows in the next few years. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, it's been really good, and looking forward to talking next time.
Awesome. Guys, click on this next video and have a good one.